Hello everyone and welcome to the latest in a series of videos that I haven't gone back to in a while. This will be a simple guide, and it's a guide to getting your reputation marks quickly. So if there are those of you who are looking to get up the reputation ladder as quickly as you possibly can, then this should be a decent way for you to do it. I'm going to spend, basically I spend about half an hour at most going through as many of the reputation things as I can. The only reputations I don't cover here are Terran marks and Undine marks, because the only real way to get those in any sort of expedient manner is to use battle zones. That's really the only way to do them in any sort of significantly good way. And it looks like when we join this Borg Red Alert, which is the first thing we will be doing, you'll have noticed that I changed instance at the beginning of the video. If you don't see a red alert in where you are, you can simply just change instance by clicking the bar in the top right hand corner, and that will allow you to hopefully get into an instance where there is a red alert going on. As you can see, my Vesta's still as unfriendly as ever, pretty much. And as usual, when I'm fighting against the Borg, I'm on fire, but you get used to that when you fight against the Borg. Looks like we've got a fairly competent group going on here anyway, but this is easily soloable anyway. One of the things that, one of the things which makes grinding the red alerts, I say grinding, they take about 10 minutes. One of the things that makes the red alert such a good target is that they are XP boost zones. So therefore, you are... Yeah, it's very easy for you to gain experience when you're in these boost zones. So if you're working on your specialization points, one of these side effects of grinding is that you will get a lot of XP, and the admiralty system as well is tied into that. Resistance detected. There was some very serious sort of very serious hatred going on at the fact that, oh, kill that energy bolt! Phew. There was some very serious bad feelings going on about how long it took you to get your specialization points. Now you can get them very quickly indeed. And that didn't take too long either. As I said, we had a pretty good group there. So that's blown away the Borg Red Alert, and so we can now move on to the next thing, which will be another Red Alert. It will be the Tholian Red Alert. Now, the reason that you do the Tholian Red Alert is probably the biggest value in the game for the shortest period of time. Aside from the odd duty officer mission, but in terms of getting you a load of things at the same time, the Tholian Red Alert is as good as it gets. So, let's head in there. You can actually see we've got a scimitar with us here, so I'm pretty sure this isn't going to last very long. Interesting to see. I think the scimitar's using phasers, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there. Or is it rainbowing? I can't tell. No, it's using anti-proton. Okay. Oh no, it's a combination of things. It looks like it's using. Oh well. The Tholians can have some fairly nasty abilities. They have the ability to turn your weapons off, which is really irritating. And if you're in front of these tarantula ships, they can use a web, which is pretty much a one-hit kill. So I'm using a sensor interference platform to take its attention away from me, and that allows me to get into a flank position. I'm going to take on this tarantula at the top because I've got the best lineup on it, and I'll be able to pop everything on it. Unfortunately, I brought something up, I have no idea why, but I'm going to fire everything at it. So grab welt and the Vesta laser, burn, damn it, burn. And you'll see I've melted through its front shields, and that ship is dropping like a stone, and that's a dreadnought that's happening there. So, you know, pretty decent damage overall there. I do like the Vesta's quantum focus laser, just for the fact that it does give you single target damage. And I am looking forward very much to testing out the brand new set from Sunrise, because Sunrise has I'll just go through the rewards here, and as you can see, 960 dilithium and sort of 145 rep marks, 80 Romulan and 15 Nukaran. You can also use the Tholian Red Alert for fleet marks as well, so it's a super value thing. Anyway, next up we're on to the Dyson Sphere. As I was saying, I want to test out the quantum set from Sunrise because that has another sort of Vesta style laser and they don't interfere with each other, so I am looking forward to trying that out. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to fit it on the Vesta yet, but I have been crafting standard phasers to get to take advantage of the set bonuses. So with Romulan, Borg and Nukara out of the way, I'm now doing Dyson in the Dyson Sphere. And we are just going to do the daily mission from the from the Dyson Joint Command. Speaking of daily grind, I think every one of these tech upgrades I make is about 40,000 energy credits profit. So, you know, considering I make like 8 or 9 in a rotation usually, you're talking about sort of 350,000 profit per 15-minute rotation there. So when you combine that with something like Tour the Galaxy, you end up making pretty serious money. I will do Tour the Galaxy in a separate video because it's 15 minutes long, and I think that there's not really much need to go into it too much at this point. I still am not able to. I'm not really able to complete it, but I can get like 800,000 credits out of it, which is way more than the previous tour. Oh, Voth Cruiser, eh? Hello, boys. I'm only at quarter impulse there, but that does improve my turn rate somewhat. So if you do need to turn round, I mean, one thing I do need to improve on quite a bit is my piloting. But if you do need to turn round in a hurry, then the best thing to do is actually drop your speed, and you'll be able to sort of turn on a dime at that point. Obviously, since I'm using pedal to the metal at the moment, it kind of removes the buff. But you can get the buff back fairly quickly, and being able to turn around and get your front weapons on your opponent is probably more of a thing. I like how kick it's an option there, as well as turning it off and back on again. But there we go, that's 480 dice, that's 65 Dyson mark, and another 480 dilithium. And next up we're going to travel to the Delta Quadrant and Argala. Now, one of these things, I've been wanting to remake my dilithium video for a while, but the problem that I've always had is that everything is tied together in this game. Dilithium, energy credits, reputation marks, it's all tied together. Basically, if you get a lot of if you get a lot of reputation marks, you can trade them in for dilithium. I mean, I have something like 1,500 Dyson, Romulan and Nukara marks, and considering you can trade them in at 500 reputation marks gets you 5,000 dilithium. It's all part of the same thing. Additionally, it's one of the reasons why battle zones are actually a very good deal, because they give you the elite marks, such as both cybernetic implants, Undine, isomorphic projectors, and you can turn those into dilithium as well, even if you don't want them for kit. You can turn them into dilithium. So everything gets tied into the reputation system. The only thing that's really separate, as I just nuke the crap out of these Kazon, the only thing that's really separate is energy credits, because it's kind of hard to convert from dilithium to energy credits. Aside from doing the old gambit, which is earn enough dilithium to buy lockbox keys and then sell a load of lockbox keys on the exchange for whatever they're going for at the moment, about 4.5 million credits, I think. So in reality, the main driving force behind the game is to earn dilithium, because that will allow you to very easily earn the other points. As I ram this Kazon carrier, and unfortunately when I do ram this Kazon carrier, I get hit by one of my own energy torpedoes, and unfortunately it sets me on fire, but never mind. Burn, damn it, burn! There we go. I mean, probably if I was absolutely min-maxing, the Vesta phaser might not be the most efficient thing to put on my ship, but it's so much fun. And at the end of the day, games are supposed to be fun, and that's... I call these videos the daily grind, and Star Trek Online is as much of a grind as you want to make it. If you want to absolutely min-max everything, then yes, this game does become a grind, and very, very quickly. But as far as I'm concerned, why would you want a second job where a second job pays you 25 cents an hour? If you really want, and it's kind of my opinion on the whole on free-to-play games on the whole, that certainly on a game like Star Trek Online or something like that, because you get so much, I wouldn't say so much enjoyment, but you get such a lengthy period of enjoyment out of the game. I mean, I've been playing this game for 5 years or so. Then I don't really compare it to other sorts of games in how much I've spent or not spent on the game. Because if I get 5 years enjoyment out of the game, then spending $500 on it is only the same as buying one AAA title a year. So if you get 5 years enjoyment out of it, it's no, you know, there's kind of this, I always feel there's a little bit of a stigma about spending money on free-to-play games. I know there's some people who are completely against it in any way, shape or form, but at the end of the day, your time is just as valuable, if not more so, than money. And if I have to grind something I don't enjoy for a month in order to get a new ship, then, or I can just put in like an hour at my normal job and spend that on the same ship and spend no time and get more enjoyment out of it, then there's absolutely no reason why I shouldn't pay money for it. But it's the whole sort of free-to-play thing sometimes gets people saying, well, if it's free-to-play, the only way you should play is free. And you should play on 500 million alts and turn the game into, you know, accounting Trek Online. It's not really that. At least from my side of the equation. I know that multiple people have their own ideas on that. What I try to do through these videos is show you the most expedient way of doing these things. And also, it's just fun to shove everything on the map into a black hole. And finally, the place we're going to go is Kobali Prime, and this is for Iconian marks. The first thing I'm going to do is activate Command and Commando. I am eternally grateful to STO for doing that at the top, as you can see, where you now have separated ground and space treks. I am really grateful to them for that. Unfortunately, you do still have to change your active reputation traits, but that's changing so 2 or 3 traits, not changing 9 every single time you want to change instance type. Iconian marks are probably the toughest to get because the gateway to Greythor, etc., doesn't often run, and if it does, it can be confusing. So, one thing I do have to show you, which I'm doing here, I've changed the armor I'm wearing. I'm now wearing Advanced Fleet Recoil Compensating Armor with the Crit D modifier. The reason for that is just that 80% critical severity. You can see my crit chance and crit severity is like 20% and 160%. For a science officer, that's pretty damn good. I also am contemplating changing my weapon to this Advanced Fleet Anti-Proton Split Beam Rifle. That's because I have a lot of expose attacks, and one of the best ways to clear things out is to expose all your targets with an AoE and then just use a exploit attack, which will disintegrate all your opponents or just do massive amounts of damage to your opponents. Basically kill them. The best weapon for this is a plasma wide beam rifle, but unfortunately they're only available, I think, through New Romulus Command, and they're only available at common level, so you have to put in a load of work upgrading them. So I just decided to go ahead and buy it from the fleet store, upgrade it, and that will save myself an awful lot of trouble. Yes, again, total min-maxing. I could buy a load on my Romulan, or transfer them over, and then spend days trying to get perfect mods for it, but I really can't be bothered with that, and there's a lot of things that I want in the game before I do that. And to be honest, the difference is probably only sort of 4 or 5% DPS at the moment, so I'm really not going to be too worried about that. Not too sure what I'm looking around for. Ah yes, just my ground dudes. You can say I have an explosive expert to give me projectiles for my exothermic induction field, 3 geologists to reset the time, 1 biologist which increases the duration of my tricorder scan. I don't use anesthetine gas, but my tricorder scan now has a much longer debuff time on it. I think tricorder scan gives a chance to expose as well. And finally, when I get round to it, I have a biochemist, and it's the 40% all damage resistance one. And that works with my hyperonic radiation and my exothermic. I'm actually using neutronic radiation, which is available through Delta Reputation. The reason for that is that it's a much wider arc than hyperonic radiation, I believe. It just acts over a wider area. And that means that more people in the area are potentially exposed, and it also means that more get the damage debuff, which, when you combine the two effects together, is something like a 75% damage resistance debuff. And it's alright, it's only for 5 seconds, but it's still a really big deal. The first mission of the two, the gate control mission, or I think it's at the gates, this one is soloable. I'm really tripping over my words when I say that. You are completely able to do this one solo. The second one, which is with our last breath, I would hesitate to try and do solo. And in fact, spoiler alert, you're going to see me attempt it and then get some backup later on. Me attempting it is quite funny, I will admit. So stick around for that one. I also never realised how good the concussive tachyon emission is. You'll see it bound to number 7 there, it's the red icon. You'll see how good that is very shortly. The ground isn't the strongest part of my game, for sure. Although, I have to admit, I've become more and more enamoured with the ground parts of this game. I'd say for about 2 or 3 years, I just never played anything on ground. I hated it. Now I'm getting more and more into it. One thing I should notice as my engineer keeps popping in and out there is that I've equipped one of my guys with a full auto rifle, the engineer, and the other one has full delta kit. Now, sometimes you should equip with full auto rifles because full auto rifles have an expose attack on their secondary. So again, you're getting more chance to expose your opponents, and that leads to more damage when you use an exploit attack, which a split beam rifle is amazing at doing. But at the moment I'm not using a split beam attack, so I've actually handed off the rifle, the Delta rifle, to an alt. We're just going to skip ahead in time here because there was a little bit of a problem with video corruption. So the only ow, that hurt. The only thing that you are really missing was a little bit of a wipeout on some of the Vardwar up on the ridge, but you'll be able to see it when you do the mission for yourself. One of the annoying things the Vardwar can do was that little tech drone. It can make their guys invincible, and I think tech officers can do the same. And once, if you see immune flash up, just switch targets and it will usually be to whatever's causing the immunity. Yeah, you can see how fast that guy went down after I threw neutronic radiation on it. But as I said, this is the much easier of the two missions. And to be honest, you only need to do one of them to get your daily fill of Iconian marks. What I would recommend you do at the moment, if I'm being honest, is run the mirror event and get Iconian marks from it. But since you're only able to do that for sort of 6 days or something like that, Terran marks are easy enough to get through battle zones, and my next video or two will concentrate on the battle zones. But if you're looking to get Iconian marks at the moment, wow, that hit hard. If you're looking to get Iconian marks at the moment, then you can use the mirror event to your advantage, because you're going to have to grind it for 15 minutes anyway every day just to finish the, event thing. So you might as well get your Iconian mark from that, get Terran mark from the battleground, where you can also get the gravimetric inducers. And there you go, you see the gold one there, you get a package, and you also get an elite mark with it as well. So that's why some people will actually say that it's useful to run Kobali Prime anyway, because you can get the elite marks. And if you do both of the level 3 missions, if you do both of them, you'll end up with 2 elite marks, and 3 elite marks is worth 1,000 dilithium. So with the marks and the dilithium, it's actually potentially worth it. Just pick up whatever from here. I think the mods do change on replay, which is cool enough. And this is what I'm about to show you is why you shouldn't try and solo this. Especially, as I said, my ground game is not the best. I don't use my heals as efficiently as I should do, blah, blah, blah. I'm also very good at getting aggro. See, this doesn't look too bad. We can get in here. I'm using my plasma feedback cascade, which will kill at least a couple of them or do some damage. But look at what's flooding in over there. That is bad news. And whammo! There you can actually see the concussive shell going off. I think I killed about 3 or 4 of the Vardwar just outright with that. But which is why I'm going straight back in, because I think I got quite a few of them with that concussive blast. So we're going to jump back in and see if I can do this, but I very much doubt it, to tell you the truth. I've got my cascade back, so we're going in. Look how many there are! I'm getting huge flanks on them, but there's so many of them here. I need more people. In fact, I actually did fairly well there. I think I cleared most of them out. It shows you how much damage in a small space I can do. I'd love to have seen the DPS figures on that, because... Oh, and I'm done for, because one of the anchor drone there has just grabbed hold of me. And because I can't move, I can't dodge. And that's just really terrible. So I decide to respawn and just give up the ghost here. Probably saying on the video, you know, you don't need to do this overall, but it looks like we've got someone else who's going in, so I figured, okay, one last chance. Let's see if we can do this with a group. Usually there are people doing it, but I was filming this at sort of 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. So, well, sorry, no, 11:30 on a Friday morning. So there's not going to be too many people online. So I chose a bad time, really, to record this. But usually there's plenty of people doing it. So I've got hold of the anchor drone. How many Vardwar? Oh my god. And I hit neutronic radiation, so hopefully things are going to go down. Time to spam medical tricorder. I should be using my nanite health monitor here, but I'm not. You're all too close. Get away. Well, there you go. There's the concussive shell. Another big old wipeout. One of the best things about the concussive shell is that it knocks shields down. So, therefore, you know, even things which have a lot of health. Oh, both my guys with me are dead. So I'm still struggling here. Spamming medical tricorder really helps because it gives you a damage resistance debuff. I should be hitting Defiance as well at this point, but oh, looks like someone resurrected. I could have used the Omega health monitor as well, and here comes the cavalry. I saw a 4-figure number there. There's definitely stuff getting hit hard. You can see how wide that field is for the neurolytic radiation. And everything's debuffed from that. Okay, I'm going to make a run for the consoles now because I've got... they didn't just fall over out of seeing my complete and utter unadulterated might. They fell over because I have Juggernaut armor on, which is a commando ability. Okay, and let's get to disabling these consoles, because that's the only way we're going to get on with this mission. Unfortunately, my camera is set on slow turn towards my target, so you'll have to forgive the jolting around here. Yeah, the cavalry ride. And you can see there, we've got an immune guy. I'm trying to get an AoE attack on him because that will more than likely take out the support drone as well, especially if it's an ectothermic induction wave. And there we go. And we've broken through. So now to take out some teleporters. Oh, someone thinks he's funny being a herald then, does he? Is that confused going on there? I think it probably is. And it looks like the transporters are down, so... Yep, let's get motoring then. It's time to deploy some spatial charges. Everything's getting what? This is the one area where the camera focusing on what you're targeting is really not a good idea because you're trying to focus on these charges. And obviously with the camera not playing fair with you, especially when you're looking through boxes at your target, it can be rather annoying. I'd suggest just play around with whatever settings you feel suit you best. Damage. Trying to get into a flank position here, trying to get behind him, but I don't letting me, so just have to take it like a man. Get these charges set, people, and blast our way back through these Vardwell soldiers. You can see now why I said that soloing it probably isn't the best idea. I can solo this final boss, but this is the one mission in the game where I think it pretty much is you have to be in a pickup group. Although I guess some tacks who do ridiculous DPS would actually argue for that. Bang! There you go. How about having no shields? Oh, have I got you angry, big fella? Yeah, he's locked on me, isn't he? Still locked on me. Unfortunately, his shield came back, but we'll knock it down the old-fashioned way then.
I will not rest until I see every Kobali dead in assembly farm.
One thing that blast did, I think it destroyed his support drone, so he's going down quicker. There we go, he's dead.
My people, I am sorry.
So that is the end of the grind, and as I said, you don't have to do this one, but I do it just for the extra reputation marks. And that is it for the daily grind for reputation marks, at least for the moment. However, there is one last thing I do want to show you. Next time we'll be moving on to Battlegrounds, which will be where I get the remainder of the marks, should I need them. If you don't need them, don't get them. But there was something I wanted to show you first. yes, I did an admiralty mission, and it was one of those missions where I said, just send anything on it because it's better than using a pass token. Well, turns out it's definitely better than using a pass token because the old school Enterprise, the Enterprise from Enterprise, and a Yellowstone runabout completed this mission despite only falling 264 points short. Although I am going to hold them to court martial, they didn't critical it. So there you go, guys. Something to at least have some fun with at the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.